Josh, could you come out and share your wisdom? Thank you. You had the clicker up there.
It's the clicker. Thank you so much. What a warm welcome. Thank you. I went to Northwestern to get my Bachelor of Science in theater, but then I also went to the University of Illinois to get my MBA. So, yeah, so Big Ten, but I'm a theater major, so I don't follow any football. 78% of your employees, according to Stanford University, are using AI at work. Whether they're allowed to it or not, whether you know it or not, 78%. Now, before everyone starts freaking out, telling me that I'm like mischaracterizing the data, AI's been around for a while, right? So let's just take a quick journey through history of what this whole AI thing is. And by the way, all these slides will be available, or take pictures and then put them into ChatGPT later. So machine learning. Is anyone Spotify, Netflix, recommendation engines, right? Talking on your phone and suddenly it appears a little bit later, those stilettos that were in the shopping cart suddenly end up following you around on social media. That's been around since the 90s, right? I mean, artificial intelligence has probably been around, definitely been around earlier than that. Does anyone know the Mechanical Turk? Yeah? It's a guy sitting in a box, or actually it was a robot that played chess, and actually it was a grand chess master sitting in a box moving something, right? Artificial intelligence. But we started seeing this big around the 90s, machine learning. Then we get to something else, deep learning. Suddenly it can sort of learn from itself. I launched the Alexa products out to the United States and globally. Has anyone ever had an Alexa in their home? Yeah. Did anyone then remove the Alexa from their home? Good, yeah. If I say Siri right now, how many phones are about to ask? Sorry about that. I know. They just changed it from, hey Siri, to Siri. So now it's for both of you. Everyone just went off. Google Translate, our Face ID, right? This has been around, but none of this was this big AI thing that now we're talking about, right? That's generative AI. What's the big deal with generative AI? Why is it suddenly the huge thing? Well, I'll give you a couple reasons. One is it can create, not just synthesize data. So it can actually take the vast stores of our human knowledge and create new stuff from it. Pretty cool. But here's the other thing. It was available on day one to every single employee and customer in the world. Unlike the internet, I didn't have to wait for broadband to make its way. Remember when you had to go to the office to get a T1 line? I'm aging myself. Now this technology is available day one in a language every single one of your people can speak. They now have the most powerful technology in the world at their fingertips. It's not in the ivory castle anymore. And so, we've been seeing this huge transformation. And by the way, we should expect things to continue to transform, right? And one of the big things we hear about is automation. AI is going to kill the jobs. 60% of jobs do have about 30% of the tasks that can be automated. By the way, this is according to McKinsey. But only 5% of those jobs can be fully automated. So what does this mean? Is AI going to replace our jobs? Is automation going to change all the jobs in the world? No. But it's going to transform the way we do our work. And by the way, other organizations, they're getting this, right? NVIDIA, big company, right? Maybe some of us have heard of it. He said, Huang, the owner, Jensen Huang, said this. NVIDIA has 32,000 employees today, but someday, he said, he hopes the company will have 50,000 employees and 100 million AI assistants in every single group. So what he's seeing, and I think why we're seeing the Workdays of the world, right? The HubSpots of the world, invest in this is because they know this doesn't replace, this augments. And it doesn't just do that in a small way, it does it in an enormous transformative way that I don't even think we quite realize what's going on yet. And I'll tell you why I think that is. This is a different thing than what we've been dealing with in the last 30 years. So everyone is now starting to say, great, we're gonna see productivity, right? 96% of our C-levels expect productivity according to the Upwork Research Institute. And they expect that's gonna put more demands on our employees, right? Does this look familiar or sound familiar? Do we sort of hear our CEOs saying, or CLOs, we gotta do this, or they're saying absolutely no one does it, right? And then we're having this interesting battle. But here's the thing with this productivity. It's a mirage. I want you to look at the bottom first. AI implementation rates. 77% of the people who use AI say it decreases their productivity. And 47% say they're unsure of even how to get more productive. Now, there's two ways we can look at that. We could say there's a training issue, but I actually think it's a little different from that. I think it's how we're defining productivity and what the real value is of AI. By the way, who do we usually rely on to informally teach all of our employees about new technologies that are coming out? Where did you learn about TikTok in the workplace? So now I want to point out to the burnout here. We can discuss the whole idea of who feels burned out. However, it's interesting to me that the Gen Z, the ones, right, who we probably would rely on naturally, they're the most burnt out. So what does that say about the next generation? And organizationally, what's our strategy to make sure we don't get stuck losing a whole bunch of people who get burned out, who we're relying on to help us upskill the entire organization? This is all something way different than anything we've seen before. AI is not a new tool, it's a new hire. This is how I want you to think about this AI thing, and let me tell you why. For the last 30 years, it's been all about technology. It's been about implementing new tools, and what does a tool do? You put something in, and it allows it to come out quicker, faster, more productive. At Amazon, there was a saying, take all of your programs and turn them into products, and then take all your products and sell them. That's how Amazon does it. But it was all about reducing changing cost between swim lanes, right? Going back and forth between my design team, between my graphics team, right? That takes time and energy. Not only that, but I'd have to hire the person, find someone, all of this stuff. But this is different. The first 4 slides of my deck were completely created by chat-based AI. And I was able to do that and make sure they looked good by iterating 20 times in a matter of minutes. And by the way, when we're done, I'm happy to show you the actual conversations that rendered me those 4 infographics. And I know I'm a theater major, but when I took costume design, the professor said, stick with flat painting. So artistry is not what I do. So if we think about this, we think about the fact that now the change in cost isn't there. I don't need to worry about optimizing. Now there's something else that I can start doing. I can start talking back and forth. I can get advice. There's a metacognitive switch that happens. And so we start to think about an organization that doesn't look like we're putting tools into a process chart, but rather where AI is distributed amongst the entire org chart. I've tried to be specific and put different types of roles in these. So you'll see there's the assistant, right? There's team members. There's full teams that are working. There's a couple tools out there, actually, when you use them, they'll say something like, our team's working on that. But as we look at this, I still think, and this AI augmented org chart, I think it's something interesting to think about, but I still think we need to flip something, okay? Technology was all top down, right? I gave the technology out, I tell you how to use it, it's top down, we get productivity. But what I'm interested in is this bottom level, these ICs, who suddenly have the ability, and by the way, that little thing, that was not AI generated, that's just human error. Now, every single individual who has access to this has the ability to hire and fire at will an assistant who can do whatever they want. Now, the value there, I want to be clear, is not, I'm going to outsource writing something, I'm going to copy and paste it and send it out. Instead, it's, I need 20 ideas. None of those are good. Give me 20 more. Instead of walking into a meeting and saying, hey, all, give me the 5 ideas you brought in today. What if I could walk in and say, hey, everyone, show me the 10 prototypes you made last night with your team? I'm not enhancing productivity and efficiency at the front end, but I would contend we're increasing value at the back end. And by the way, when I say AI coach, AI specialist, AI teammate, when I work with these ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, whatever, I do a lot of work with it, right? I give it feedback. If anyone's worked with it, sometimes it gives you terrible stuff. And if I think about it like a tool, I'm gonna then say, forget it. This is too complicated, it's not gonna help me. But if I think about this like a new hire, like an intern, or as Ethan Mollick says, a drunk intern, I can start to think about this differently. I'm giving a task to an intern that I got to hire for free with no onboarding necessary. And by the way, if it turns out terrible, great, like digital photography, I'll throw it out. But if I work and I get it to give me what I want, that's awesome. Now I can send that temp away, or I can say to that temp, my ChatGPT, hey, we had a great conversation back and forth. Thanks, good work. I want you to write down your lessons learned for me. That way, you won't make the same mistakes next time. Now, that's what I would do with a young intern who didn't know how to self-develop. And by the way, if they are a temp, I don't want them to walk in tomorrow and lose everything, right? So they wrote down all those lessons learned. Now what can I do? Hey, great job. Great lessons learned. We went through this whole conversation, and you recall I gave you a prompt at the very beginning. What prompt should I have given you? So all of this content would have been taken into account. So we would have arrived here immediately. Now, I hear a wow, which is great, but that's what we do with our employees. That's coaching. That's developing. But what I just did was essentially develop, had them create their prompt, and now I have that forever. That's how we're hiring these agents. And by the way, right now, I get it. Super new into this, right? But we are finding that even the people who use it because of this thing, they're enjoying work more. They're more engaged. Microsoft did a study with their internal team, and obviously, so we're looking at power users. Let's take that in. But 83% of the users found their work more enjoyable using AI. Which, by the way, makes sense if you could say, I want to create a song. Create me 5 songs. They also felt more motivated at work. And I want you to think about how if your companies, like a lot of ours are right now, right, are holding back on making investments, that's fine. But think about people having fun and feeling more motivated. Think about everyone at Northwestern right now who has AI at their disposal. disposal and think about the organizations they want to go to. Finally, 84% say it boosts their creativity and lets them focus on what they care about. And let me add something to this. I was diagnosed autistic and ADD 4 years ago. AI, life changer for neurodiverse individuals, because I get bored very easily. And guess what? I can do a million things and go way down them in this. And can I just add, solving things for your neurodiverse individuals solves them across gender, race, protected class. And by the way, you're creating stuff more for learners, right? For various learners, not learning types, not learning styles, different learners. It also is saving time. It makes financial sense. Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania is doing a pilot. Now, before you get crazy over the time here, which I still think is pretty amazing, this is a small pilot, but essentially they asked folks, as of the last time you used this, how much time do you think it saved? They said 105 minutes, which I think is on the high side. However, if you were to do an ROI calculation, you'll find in generally 10 to 15 minutes of savings a day pays for itself in less than 6 months. Oh, and if you don't believe me, go to AI, ask it to create you a calculator, and then ask it. So we're thinking about what's the AI strategy. So I'd ask you this question. What's the internet strategy at your company? It's almost kind of a ridiculous thing, right? And I think I heard this from someone, maybe in this room, this phrase, which I just thought was brilliant. What's your strategy? Well, I think it should be something like, use it. It's nice when you become a dad and the dad jokes, you can start working in to everything. I say you have to use it. The companies, all these companies that are making the investment, they are essentially saying, we need to do this because we don't know what's best. Because this is a tool that goes to every individual. And the only way we're gonna figure out how to leapfrog every single one of our customers and every single one of our employees is by somehow getting the collective knowledge of every single one of our individuals. Because I guarantee if we go out there and we say, hey, here are all the agents you need to use, we will be thrown out by the people who are going out and building stuff for themselves. Like those neurodiverse individuals at your organization who are just building stuff because they can do it now. So here are 4 things I think you can do right now. First, freedom within a framework, okay? Just like we like to create learning vessels, I think, we create a vessel for learning. I sometimes think our learning is the rehearsal room. We need to create the constraints. People are using this. I actually gave a speak. I was at a large bank last week, and I was talking about this, and the boss left the room, and 3 people go, yeah, I email myself all the time at my personal email so I can get it off my work email because they cut it off at work. I won't tell you what bank, I won't tell you what person. But set boundaries now so then at least they know where it can be, even if it's only use it personally. Use it for professional development or coaching. Number 2, you must decide to use AI. We just have to make the decision. I have 5 Ds. Decide to use AI. Dialogue and discover with the AI what it's useful for. And then delegate the definition of the AI to the AI. But the first thing you have to do is you just have to start. You just have to start using it. And hey, y'all, if this is a thing built on the humanities, it's built on the corpus of human knowledge, and it's built to mimic humans, the challenge isn't gonna be, can AI create what I imagine? It will be, can I imagine big enough for AI? And by the way, I hasten to add, if it is built on human behavior, built to mimic humans, who better than human performance experts and human behavior experts to not only launch this into your organizations, because we know change, but also to lead the way on how to use it, because we know how to coach. And Finally, just talk to AI. Way too much metacognitive overload when we try to think about how to start, or the right prompt, or what am I going to use you for? Don't worry. Decide to use it, and then you'll discover how to use it. You'll discover what it's useful for. And even if you don't, you'll have the skill of knowing how to coach it and talk to it, which will be useful when your organization finally gets on board and decides it's not going anywhere. So, 78% of your employees are using AI at work, whether you know it or not. And in a year from now, we want to be saying something like 100% of my employees are using AI at work. We know it, we love it, and I think the thing that'll be added there is the people in this room, L&D, human behavior experts, y'all are what made it happen. So go out there and do it. Thanks a lot, y'all.